Where to, Governor?
Harrow.
Coming out, Mossop. What are you waiting for?
Isn't it nice to be this far out of London?
I don't know, sir. It smells funny.
Yes, it's called fresh air, Mossop. I have nothing more to say to you.
Righty-ho, sir.
I have been rather unwell this week, and despite how I may sound, I am doing a lot better.
I assume that Professor Tipple lives in there. What a magnificent feat of engineering. That's Professor Tipple, one of London's more eccentric inventors.
Why does Mossop keep hiding?
Hello, Professor. I'm here, as requested.
Good, good. I'm nearly ready to go. I just need a few more things for our trip.
Excellent. I'll wait for you. Is there a public house nearby where I could get a drink?
No time for that, young man. You volunteered to be my assistant, so you've got to help me prepare for this momentous journey.
Oh, very well then. What do you want?
Let's see. Fetch me some vitriol. There should be some in my laboratory somewhere. Oh, and I've misplaced the remote controller for my automaton. See if you can find it. There's a good chap.
What on earth is an automaton?
Ah, glad you asked, my boy. It's one of my inventions. Oh yes, a steam-driven machine that will help us to perform dangerous and unpleasant tasks from a safe distance.
Can't you just use a manservant like everyone else?
Good Lord, no. Servants are much too fragile. They're always breaking or bursting or going splat. My machine is far stronger and also far more versatile. I call it Robert. I'd give you a demonstration, but it's already stowed in the rocket.
So you want the vitriol and the remote control?
Yes, please, if you don't mind, young man. Oh, there's one other thing. I haven't had time to have any lunch, so be a good chap and get me something to eat. I have a bit of a hankering for a ploughman's lunch today.
What did your last servant die of?
Explosive decompression. Dreadful affair.
Sir, I am a gentleman, not a gentleman's gentleman. I do not fetch lunch.
You volunteered to be my assistant. That's what you must be.
So you want a ploughman's lunch as well?
That would be lovely. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to the moon.
Maybe the professor keeps birds.
So, why can't the professor come inside this room and pick these items up himself?
Vitriol. That's strong acid and very dangerous. It will eat just about anything. Rather like Mossop, actually.
I wonder if Mossop goes splat as well.
I don't want to risk burning away my carefully cultivated nostril hair. Now that really would rot my insides. I better be careful with this stuff. It could burn my hand off. That must be something the professor is working on.
Is this meant to be a statue of some sort?
I've never seen a contraption like that before. I'm not sure I know what I'm doing with this contraption. I'm not about to start taking the professor's inventions apart.
Why can't we have this option for various people in this game?
I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm sure I'll be the first person on my street to have one. It looks like the professor has modified a steam engine to create his space rocket. I haven't given the professor what he asked me for.
I believe that the space rocket is the only thing that we can interact with in this area. Alright, we have 2 of the 3 items that the professor needs. Let's get him some lunch. There's only one place open that's serving any food or drink.
Where to, Governor?
The Crab and Sailor Public House in Whitechapel. Good day, barman.
What's it to be then, sir?
I'd like one of your ploughman's lunches, please, good barman.
Oh, would you now? A ploughman's lunch? That's for your working men, and I can see by your manner that you're a toff. You never done an honest day's work in your life. How dare you come in here and pretend that you're a working man? You want a ploughman's lunch? Go and plough a field. I'm not serving you. On your penny farthing, mate.
I am a working man.
And what makes you think that?
My great-grandfather lifted some boxes once.
That hardly counts as work, does it? I've told you before, I'll only serve me ploughman's lunches to real working men.
I am a working man.
And what makes you think that?
I still want to know where we are going to find a field in Whitechapel.
I used to work, then I retired on my earnings.
A likely story. I've told you before, I'll only serve me ploughman's lunches to real working men.
I am a working man.
And what makes you think that?
I work hard at being a gentleman.
And I'm working hard at not punching your lights out. I've told you before, I'll only serve me ploughman's lunches to real working men.
I am a working man.
And what makes you think that?
Well, what about Mossop? He is our manservant, although all he has done so far is stand around. Well, walk around, really.
But listen to the way that I talk. Lord, love a duck. Yes, we have no bananas. Apples and pears, neither up Mother Brown. How are you, me old cock sparrow?
That's the worst attempt at a Cockney accent I ever heard. I've told you before, I'll only serve me ploughman's lunches to real working men.
I am a working man.
And what makes you think that?
I pick fights. Your mother was a gin-addled, ugly alcoholic, haggard, toothless old harlot who couldn't read or write.
Just 'cause you knew me mum doesn't mean you're working class, mate. I've told you before, I'll only serve me ploughman's lunches to real working men.
I am a working man.
And what makes you think that?
I don't really know.
I thought as much. You haven't got a clue what a real working man is.
Okay, what is he then?
Well, I'm in the liquor business, and I can always tell a man's character by what he drinks.
I'll tell you what I drink. I drink whiskey.
That's for snobs. Snobs and those with a death wish.
I drink fine wines from France.
You may as well drink tea for all that's worth.
I have the odd jar of ale.
Ale is for boys and sailors. It's not for real men.
I drink champagne.
A real working man couldn't afford champagne if he lived to be 130.
I drink Slowburn's Special Reserve.
I doubt it. Or your ankles would have swollen up like balloons with the gout.
I feel that like we could make a Chumbawamba song out of these dialogue options right here.
What does a real man drink then?
Real men drink something that is feared throughout civilization. The scourge of sanity, the destroyer of livers, the breaker of wheels. Real men? Ha! They quaff a drink so utterly evil that it devours them even as they devour it. Real men drink scrumpy.
Cider? Is that all?
It's not cider. It might be made from apples, but the contaminants that go into each glass make each mouthful a near suicidal undertaking. It rots your teeth, your guts and your brain. Evan never smiled upon this sour, joyless pint of miserable corruption, sir. It's the devil's own handiwork, his finest handiwork. No other drink comes close.
Well, I'll have a pint of scrumpy then, please. Straight glass. If it's the only way to prove to you that I am a working man and that I have a legitimate right to eat a ploughman's lunch, then by golly, I'll do it.
Here you go then, sir. 1 pint of scrumpy, and may the Lord have mercy on your soul. I believe this week's special contaminant is a dead sheep's carcass.
Nice. Well, it just adds to the flavour.
That's the concoction I'm supposed to be drinking. Well, I believe in sharing, so... Mossop, care to try some?
No delegation. A working man drinks his own drink.
Oh, well, bottoms up.
Nice.
I think I've earned my lunch now, wouldn't you say?
That I would, sir. I take my hat off to you. You are definitely a real working man.
Don't say it, Mossop. It's my ploughman's lunch, and by golly did I earn it.
I wonder whether we can eat it.
I'm sure the Professor would prefer his lunch without pieces bitten out of it.
Where to, Governor?
Harrow.
Oh, super! You got it. Do me a favour and hang on to it for me. If I take it now, I'll only lose it. You found it! Splendid, splendid. You better keep hold of it for the time being. I don't want to lose it again. I can be quite absent-minded at times, you know.
But it was just sitting on a shelf. It wasn't exactly lost.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to enjoy this. Righty-ho. I've got everything I need now, so I'd better be off. Full moon, you see. If it wanes, there'll be less to land on. Might miss. Thank you for your help, young man. Be seeing you.
Wait a minute, I thought you said we could go with you.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry. You know, I'd love to have you on board, but I'm afraid I've had second thoughts about taking non-scientific personnel with me. I'd never get insurance.
But you can't just leave me behind, not after all I've done for you.
Why do you feel you have to accompany me?
You'd get into too much trouble by yourself.
Nonsense, lad. I'm perfectly able to take care of myself.
I want to claim the moon on behalf of the British Empire.
Oh, you can't do that. The moon belongs to everybody, as do all of Mother Nature's wonders. And besides, I want the exploitation rights for myself.
I want to collect moonbeams in a jar.
You can do that from down here on Earth. Go up to Parliament Hill on a clear night. That's my advice.
I'm doing scientific research of my own.
Really? What research is that?
I want to research alien life forms.
There's no such thing as alien life forms. Everyone knows that.
Then explain Mossop.
I want to see what happens when one's manservant throws up in zero gravity.
Not in my nice shiny new rocket, you don't.
I want to research the view from the moon.
What's so interesting about the view from up there?
I want to look at the stars.
You can do that from down here. That's no reason to go to the moon.
I want to research the view from the moon.
What's so interesting about the view from up there?
I want to look down on people. I've looked down on them all my life. So where better to do so than from the moon, eh, Professor?
Snobbery has no place in space exploration, my boy.
I want to research the view from the moon.
What's so interesting about the view from up there?
I want to look at the Earth from the moon.
Why would you want to look at the Earth from so far away?
I'm looking for a specific geographic structure not shown on any maps.
Really? How fascinating. What equipment are you bringing?
I've got a camera.
You'll need some flash powder then, or the photograph won't come out. Come back when you've got it.
Right, the flash powder. Now this is an issue I've been having for a little while. We can't find the flash powder anywhere on the map. We have to make it. And we do that by combining 2 inventory items. But I haven't found anywhere that gives any clues of how to make it and which items we need to use. Now the snuff box does give a slight hint.
This box of Old Faithful snuff powder is one of the strongest available, second only to gunpowder in terms of potency.
So we need to combine the snuff powder with another item, but the only items we have that would mix with it would be maybe the vitriol flask, probably not the mouse, but the whiskey.
My goodness, this would make a potent explosive substance unless I'm very much mistaken. Not enough to open a safe, but it might be useful as flash powder for a camera.
I would like to think that there is a hint for this in-game, and not just some kind of luck by random inventory management, but here we are.
What will I need for my research again, Professor?
You've got everything you need for the trip. Now hurry along and board the rocket. I'd like to be home by tea time, you know. Right, everyone on board. I'm logging liftoff time at 13 minutes past 1. Oh, I hope that's not a bad omen. Of course not, Professor. It's the hour that makes it unlucky, and it's 1 o'clock, not 13 o'clock, so we're okay.
Why are we not following them automatically?
That must be something the Professor is working on.
Ready for takeoff. 5, 4, can I go to the toilet? 3,
Oh, Mossop, you should have gone before we left.
2, this isn't going to be a rough ride, is it? I get seasick, you know. 1. It worked! My rocket actually worked!
I have to say, I am amazed, Professor. We are thousands of miles from the Earth in a converted steam engine on our way to the moon. Quite remarkable.
The moon? Ah, yes. About that, we may actually be going to a different destination.
A different destination? What different destination?
That is, as they say, the question. All I am sure of is that we will miss the moon on this current trajectory.
But I thought you worked it all out, calculated everything. What went wrong?
The answer is in the mass of this vehicle and the force required to propel it. Well, I allowed for myself and 1 assistant on board, but we brought your manservant as well, and he's rather plump.
I might have known it was Mossop's fault. Even 20,000 miles in space, he's no earthly good. Shall I throw him out?
It's too late for that now. You see, we lifted off using the propulsion force required for a lesser mass, so therefore we will...
Miss the moon.
Exactly.
So we're doomed to drift in space forever.
Oh, no, certainly not. We'll plunge into the sun by tea time.
That makes me feel so much better. What can we do about it?
Nothing, I'm afraid.
Nothing? Professor, we will die if we can't change course. Is there no steering wheel or rudder?
Space rockets don't work like that, young man. They use adjustable engine output to direct them to the target. Wait a minute. That's it. We can steer the rocket to the moon using the engine.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, no, we can't. The trajectory has to be worked out precisely using an adding machine, and mine is back in my laboratory. It would take far too long to work out the mathematics by hand.
What about your automaton? Couldn't that work it out?
Good heavens, no. If Robert had a brain, there's no way he'd have come on this mission.
Drat. Couldn't we just guess the force needed from the engines? Steer by eye?
I suppose it's possible, but it would be trial and error. One mistake, and we're doomed.
Then that's what we've got to try.
Couldn't we calculate it using my fingers and toes, sir?
Mossop, with a limited air supply, the last thing you should do is remove your socks. Now just leave this to me.
Hold on. If Mossop is the manservant, then why does he get the seat?
Excuse me, Professor. At least you haven't been sick, Mossop.
Not yet, sir, no. But I am seeing stars before my eyes whenever I look out of the porthole.
How do you feel?
I'm all right, sir. But it's a bit stuffy in here. Maybe if I opened the window.
I don't think that would be a good idea, Mossop. I have nothing more to say to you.
Righty-ho, sir.
We're still in space. That has definitely not been tailored in Savile Row. It's not exactly the most fashionable item of gentleman's apparel I've ever seen, but it will be necessary if I want to go outside. It's an automaton with superficial intelligence. What an ingenious contraption. Now is not the time to take control of Robert. It's very solidly attached to the structures above and below it. That's one of the metal pipes connecting the tanks together in here. I'm afraid sheer brute force will not remove that pipe.
Why would we want to remove the oxygen pipe?
I imagine the Professor used that when he was constructing this vehicle.
Okay, should I be worried?
I've definitely seen garden labourers using one of those. I'll need this to dig for the Professor's minerals.
But first, we need to get to the moon. Now this is, I believe, our first logic puzzle. And it's not too hard to figure out. We just need to get the moon into the centre of the porthole. Even though the porthole is at the top, we need to be going forward.
This lever controls the horizontal movement of the rocket.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the only way of doing it.
This lever seems to control vertical movement.
Right, as you can see, we're having difficulty moving this moon.
This lever regulates engine output.
Now, if we can get this into the correct position, then the moon should stop springing back. Well, as quickly as it is doing, at least. There's no real indication to tell you where exactly to put the lever, but it needs to be spinning anti-clockwise, like you can see here.
That seems to have aligned the levers correctly.
And then we need to keep these levers in place. Where's my inventory?
The controls won't stay in place. I must find a way to hold them steady. If I break the window, we're sure to be sucked out into outer space. Not that either of my two companions would fit through the porthole, of course.
Okay, let's try this again.
That seems to have aligned the levers correctly.
Ah, there we go. And we need to use this oxygen pipe. And that should be it for now.
That should hold the levers in place. We made it. No thanks to you, Professor. I just hope you can get us back.
Oh, there's no problem about that. I'll recalculate the return trajectory while you're out getting the spoils of exploration.
What spoils? Now, Professor, it's time to come clean and tell me just what you expect to find up here. What is it? Gold? Gems? Oil? Well, it must be something very valuable for you to go to all this trouble.
I suppose it's going to be impossible to keep it a secret now. The fact is, my research has led me to the conclusion that the moon is composed entirely
Yes?
of cheese.
Of cheese?
Yes, a variant of cheddar, I believe.
You're mad.
Oh, hardly. When I return to Earth with a rocket full of tipple cheddar, which, because of its exclusivity, I can charge £5 an ounce for at least, I'll be rich. If that's madness, then open the doors to Bedlam, 'cause I'm coming in.
Okay, so we're here for cheese. This is essentially an episode of Wallace and Gromit.